What is up guys, and welcome back to another Classic Fresh video. So with the announcement of Classic Fresh, as well as the fact that we currently have an open beta for Classic Fresh that everyone can play, I think it's about time we start talking about potential release dates for Classic Fresh. Of course, all we can do right now is speculate, but we do have some relevant data and some release patterns that we can look at, and based on that we can make a couple of educated guesses. So based on that, when do you think Classic Fresh will come out? Leave a comment down below and let me know, and we'll see if our guesses line up. While you're at it, I have a goal of reaching 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you could literally help me reach that goal right now by clicking that subscribe button. I plan on making a lot of guides and content on Classic Fresh, so if that is something that you are interested in, then you are in the right place. So when it comes to Classic Fresh's release date, we need to look at multiple things, and to keep this somewhat clean, let's go through it one thing at a time. First of all, we need to ask ourselves what exactly needs testing. For Classic Fresh, the entire world is already built. The dungeons are made, the raids are made, the quests are made, and basically the entire game is completed and in a semi-bug-free state, based on the fact that it's the same game as Classic WoW, which we beta tested for months and we played for years, so Blizzard have ironed out most of the bugs by now. That being said, Classic Fresh will have some changes coming to it, making it more difficult than OG Classic WoW, but most of these changes are done on the back end, which is a matter of coding that could be done in a matter of hours once they figure out the exact ways of doing it. Examples here include the plus 25% bonus experience from quests, which is already in place and working on the open beta, boss health values which can be tuned up or tuned down internally, and also boss mechanics damage which can be tuned up or tuned down internally. As for world buff, that is also a really simple issue that can be coded on the backend to restrict using them inside raid instances. Changes that require a bit more testing, on the other hand, would be restoring old boss mechanics, where you would need to make sure these deliver as promised and are as bug-free as possible to ensure the best raiding experience possible. These mechanics also need animations, as well as they need to be tuned perfectly to make the raid bosses not too difficult, but at the same time not too easy, as they have promised us more challenging content, and they basically need to balance this perfectly. That being said, they are restoring old raid mechanics that are already in the game files, and just need to be reactivated and adjusted and balanced, which shouldn't take too much time overall. I also think it's important to look at the fact that they actually skipped the closed beta and wait straight for an open beta, which once again suggests that the majority of changes are already ironed out, and open betas in general tend to not last very long, as Blizzard don't want people to get bored of the game before the game actually comes out. That just makes sense. If we go back to previous betas, open betas or less closed betas, whatever you want to call it, the last stages of beta invite, that beta cycle usually only lasts a month or two before it gets shut down, and then the game comes out anywhere from 2 weeks to a month after that beta goes down. So if we take that into consideration, we should see a Classic WoW Season of Mastery launch in December, which I think would make sense as people will have done most of Phase 2 in TBC Classic by then, as well as the fact that there's no new content happening in retail either, meaning Blizzard could capitalize on a lot of players not having much to do in either version of the game, in which case offering them a fresh Classic experience might just be enough content to keep them playing. That being said, there is one more piece of vital information that I want to bring up when it comes to the release date of Classic WoW Season of Mastery, and that is Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion called Endwalker is set to release on November 23rd, and if you know anything about Blizzard, it should be the fact that they always time their release schedules around other game releases, specifically their own competitors' releases, and Final Fantasy is a huge competitor for World of Warcraft. With players leaving TBC Classic and also no new content in retail, a lot more players might be inclined to go and test out Final Fantasy during their new expansion, which is directly against Blizzard's best interest, and for that reason alone, I think WoW Classic Season of Mastery will come out on November 23rd, potentially even a week before that, just to make sure they capture their audience before they ever get the chance to go over and try out Final Fantasy. But realistically, my top guess would be November 23rd, as that is on a Tuesday, and it coincides perfectly with the North American weekly reset. They could even do a midnight release, where for Europeans it would launch on midnight on the 24th, aka Tuesday evening or the night in between Tuesday and Wednesday, while for North Americans that time would be between 6 PM and 3 PM, depending on where in NA that you live, and that way they would have a semi-perfect global release timer. If I remember correctly, then Classic WoW and TBC Classic also had these release times, where for Europe they would release at midnight, and for North America they would release in the middle of the day. Personally, I really think we'll see a late November or early December launch for Classic Fresh, and to end this video off, I will list each of my arguments right here. First of all, you have the Final Fantasy expansion coming out on November 23rd, as I just discussed, and I think Blizzard really wants to push out some content at roughly the same time frame to combat this expansion. This is not my main argument for why I think Classic Fresh will come out at this time, but everything ties together and makes it seem more likely. Secondly, the current content drought in both TBC Classic and retail is causing a lot of players to take a break, and with no new content they will go play other games, and if they find one that they like, chances are they might not be coming back, which is obviously a huge problem for a game that already has problems capturing new audiences. Thirdly, I think November and December is a great time to launch a new expansion, because that is usually when people have more time to spend for video games. Specifically for myself, the months of May to August are usually filled with summer activities and hot weather, while the months of October through February are filled with much colder weather, and I am much more inclined to stay inside and play video games. To add on to this argument, 4 of World of Warcraft expansions were released in November, if you count Vanilla as one of those expansions, even though that was the base game. Vanilla came out November 2004, Wrath came out November 2008, Warlords came out November 2014, and Shadowlands came out November last year. Cataclysm also came out in December, so I'm starting to see a release pattern here of releasing new content around November. My last argument is that we are already in the open beta, there's not too many things that need to be tested, and a 6-week beta or open beta should be enough to find and fix the bugs that are needed, while also hyping up the game significantly without causing burnout. So there you have it guys, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my predictions on Classic WoW Season of Mastery's release date, and see whether I am right or wrong once they actually give us an official release date. And I also wanted to see when you guys think Classic Fresh will be coming out, so make sure you let me know in the comments down below. If you made it this far into the video, it would really mean a lot to me if you click that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and I'm also hoping you enjoyed the video enough to subscribe as well. We are getting closer and closer to that huge 30k subscriber benchmark, and you could literally help me reach that right now. Either way, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again very soon.